to answer all of your questions. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. I'm going to start with you, Jignesh, just to get a sense of some of these stocks that have really buzzed in the recent past. I see names like Avanti that have been doing particularly well over the past month or so. How do you rate today's moves? And would you really, Avanti again today 8% higher in trade on the charts for the short term? Do you see any plays, any trades?
Well, currently, if you see Avanti, it has been in continuously a downtrend, but also from the lower levels, counter is suggesting, I think, a reversal from the current levels. I think the way it has moved today, it has clearly established that counter is into the reversal mode. Now, from current levels, it has already moved a little bit from the lower levels. I would suggest that you can definitely buy, but counter has to go a little down and then you can buy, because our stop loss will be the earlier lows for the counter. But I'm sure that Avanti feed is something that one can look at, because the down move that we have seen already, it is very lower compared to the up move that we have seen in the earlier years for this counter. So counter is clearly suggesting reversal from current levels. One can go ahead and buy if it corrects from 3 to 5% from the current levels. One should take at least one should take a stop loss at around 15% lows from the current levels.
Okay, well, there you have it. That's a view on Avanti feed. And moving on to a question that we have on mail, we have Bhavesh Jain who writes to us, and he says that he wants to invest in Bajaj Corp with a 6 to 12 month time horizon. Well, that's a relatively short time span to invest into. So once again, I'm going to take Jignesh's view on Bajaj Corp. It's unchanged largely, at least today. It's currently at 386 odd rupees per share. Jignesh, how would you trade Bajaj Corp now, keeping 6 to 12 months in mind?
Well, keeping 6 to 12 months, I still suggest Bajaj Corp has nothing to offer much, because it hasn't formed any price formations yet. Although it is trading at its support level, so 340 is the support that counter has seen in 2017 as well. Counter hasn't gone down below 340, so 340 is something it can be suggested as a good support. But till the time we do not see any price formations happening on the counter, I don't think it is lucrative to buy. Although it has a chances to go up, but very limited up move that I can see on the chart, and up move can take charts to around two stocks to around 390 some level. But that's it, not more than 390. So staying away is something I would suggest, because there are better stocks which are forming price formations currently.
All right. He wants a long-term technical view on Muthoot Capital. Now, of course, technicals, as we all know, we usually take short-term views, but let's take a long-term view in this case. Muthoot Capital is currently trading at 910. Jignesh, I'll take this question to you. Let's not use perhaps the next 3 months or 6 months. Let's use perhaps 1 year horizon, considering he hasn't really mentioned his how long he wants to keep it. What would your view be on Muthoot Capital in the long term?
Yeah, for the long term, we can at least say that counter is surviving the long term support line, and the recent lows are going to be stop loss for this counter. So for long term, a viewer can select stop loss at 790 rupees, and target should be the earlier highs for the counter, where counter was around 1300 some levels. So 1300 should be first target for the viewer, and 790 should be the stop loss for long term, considering 2-3 years horizon.
All right, that's a view on.
We have two viewers on YouTube who want a technical view on JK Tyre. One is from Gulshan Kumar. He wants specifically a 2-month view. And we have Ridish Shah. He's just generally mentioned JK Tyre. So while both these viewers have one other stock attached to this, I'm just going to take JK Tyres forward. Let's pull up JK Tyre and see how it's done over the last 1 month, perhaps the last 3 months, because as we all know, while 2018 was a good year for the entire tire sector, we've seen a little bit of temperance coming in a lot of these names. So if you take a look at the 3 months view, well, after that peak made in perhaps December, January, we've actually seen it come off. It's still up as much as 2.4% over the last 3 months. But if you take, well, the last 6 months, it's actually come off quite substantially. Jignesh, where do you stand on JK Tyre now? And how would you address this company?
I think chart-wise, it does not look like it does not look that interesting. Just because the fall from the 170 levels is pretty substantial. Not only that, even currently when stock has started moving up, it is forming lower lows, so lower highs. So this is not a good sign. I think if counter has to go above, go and break the levels above, it has to stay at least above its falling trend line, which is currently at 100 levels. So I don't think this is a good counter to at least look for a buying opportunity currently. Let it go above 100 first, and if it goes and stays there, then we can think of it as a buying opportunity.
Okay, 5. What's the short-term view, Jignesh? Sanjeev Singh is asking.
Tinplate with a stop loss of 140, viewer can look at the levels like 170 pretty soon.
Okay, Jignesh, one more question for you. We have Saurabh Pathak, who has bought 1,000 shares of Yes Bank at 210. What should he do now? It's currently at 236, 237. Would you advise him to book profits? That's the question, or hang on?
No, hang on there. Just because it is forming inverted head and shoulder pattern, stop loss, the revised stop loss should be 210 and target should be 275 in next 3 months.
Take a technical view on Larsen and Toubro. I believe there's at least one person on YouTube, and we've got another one on Facebook, in fact, who's asking for a short-term view. We've got Ram Hegde, who's asking for a short-term view on Larsen and Toubro. It's just about flat in trade today at 1,340. If we can pull up the slightly longer-term charts and see how it's traded in the recent past, in the last month or so, just to get a perspective. 12 months, of course, 3.9% higher, but you'll see that up move from the end of May, end of February. The last 1 month, it has gained about 7.5%. Jignesh, if you can hear me, what's the view on Larsen and Toubro for the month of for this next couple of months till April?
Yes, Alex. As you have rightly pointed, the counter has started moving from the February itself. Currently, the momentum for this counter is pretty bullish. I think this counter can be bought. 340 level is very lucrative, very interesting level for Avanti because this stock is going to perform. And the reason why I would also say this counter is going to perform is because the volume that we are seeing in this counter ever since the 2019, it's pretty good. I think volume spurts suggest that this counter is going to go bullish very shortly. It has taken support from 1200 some levels. So I think it is a good buy currently with a stop loss of 1300. At least it is going to 1425, 1450 levels pretty soon. If it stays below 1450, then we can see higher levels opening up for the company.
Okay.